Jew is a fun word, huh? It's a weird word. It's a last name. Did you know that? I went to Jewish summer camp with a kid named Ben Jew. That's a real person. And Joey Matzah. Those are real people. I sound like an undercover Klansman trying to just make up stuff. I'm like, yeah, I went to Jew camp with Ben Jew and Joey Matzah and Dreidel Bagelstein. But here is what I think is weird about the word Jew. Typically, a slur takes a proper ethnic term and shortens it. Like, I can't list them, but you know them all. But Jew is already compact, right? So people get weird. Like, am I allowed to say Jew? Is that okay? I'm like, yeah, Jew. Jew is fine. Jew is great. So long as it's a noun, right? I'm a Jew. You're a Jew. It's the adjectives and verbs that'll get you in trouble. Like, yeah, my Jew lawyer tried to Jew me out of $5,000. I'm like, whoa, no. My Jewish lawyer tried to jip me out of $5,000. See? It's better because it offends a smaller, less powerful group of people. That's a fun joke to tell. Because a lot of stuff has to go right? To even get the joke, you gotta know some stuff, some history, some etymology, and then to laugh, you have to be a bad person. So that sweet spot, just educated and amoral. That's the fan base I'm trying to cultivate.
You guys have those like obnoxiously named overpriced doggy daycare places around here? Those dumb names. Do you guys have any? Yell them out. What's the names of the places? Dogtopia. I was in Boulder, Colorado. They had one called Bonjour. And it's like... I bring my dog to a place, $50 to bring her to hang out for the day. And then they text me like to guilt me into buying add-ons for her. They sent me a picture of her and she's all sad. The other dogs are in the back like f***ing and drinking and smoking cigarettes. My dog...
Dog's doing a keg stand.
They text me, for $15, you could get your dog a compassionate CBD paw rub. Like, can you just make sure she doesn't eat? That's like really all we want. She doesn't need 12 minutes in the heated pool with a snuffle pad. Just please keep her out of traffic. That's all we want.
I'm glad we're traveling again. A few years ago, I went to Bangkok. Almost didn't go. Saw a video on YouTube called The Scams of Bangkok. This dude was a little paranoid. He's like, if you go to a museum and you see someone smiling, total scam. If you go to a restaurant, they have noodles on the menu, your identity's just been stolen. If you show up at your hotel, there's a front desk, call Interpol. Classic flim-flam.
I was racist in grade 1. Yeah. I didn't mean to be racist. I don't know why I did this. My best friend was a kid named Rami Jahari. That's how he said his name. I don't know why I did this. I wasn't trying to be funny. I wasn't trying to be mean. I was just a 6-year-old kid. He was one of my best friends, but I'd call him over every recess. Rami! Okay, let's try this. Did I say anything? Nothing? Okay, I got some other ideas tomorrow. I'll see you at recess. I do that every day. Then I go to his house for lunch. You ever go to an Arabic person's house for lunch when you're 6? It's terrifying. Everything they say, they sound angry. His father would come in the room. Rama! Mitayaka si tayar makaratia! Okay. My dad would like to know if you like peanut butter and jelly sandwich for lunch.
I think that horseback riding is quite overly descriptive for that activity. Because why do we have the word back in there. Like, you've all seen a horse before. Everyone picture a horse right now. Where else are you going to ride it? What other option is there? You're grabbing the tail and doing a little land ski? I guarantee you anyone who's ever tried to horse front ride has died. Cause of death, horse. What do you want to do this weekend? Oh, let's go horseback riding. Great, how are we gonna get there? It's pretty far away. I guess we'll have to car inside drive. You know, in England, where they know a thing or two about the English language, they call it horse riding. And if someone came to you and they said, hey, you know, last weekend I went horse riding, you wouldn't be like, how? Can you be more specific? How were you arranged on this beast? Were you on top or was it a belly-to-belly type of thing? I need a visual.
One night I was sitting around my apartment during the pandemic. One night, I mean, more than one, but that particular night, I decided to Google weird laws in Boulder, Colorado. Well, you know, I had some time. So, and this is true, these are all really laws in Boulder. You cannot graze your llama on public land in Boulder, you know? I swear that's true. And that bummed me out, I'm not gonna lie. I had to have a heart-to-heart talk with my llama. I'm like, I can't afford to feed you anymore. You're not allowed to graze on public land, so you're free to go, yeah? Oh, thanks, yeah. If you ever come across a llama wandering around Boulder, that's Bobby, you know? So, maybe try to point him in the direction of some private land and let him... All right.
Taco Bell is amazing. You guys like Taco Bell? Yeah, that's a very polarizing restaurant. No one's ever on the fence about Taco Bell. You just say it and people are like, absolutely, or hard pass, which is a constipation joke, but also a firm no. I respect Taco Bell because they know what I just said. They know if you're going to eat there, you're going to eat there. You ever seen a commercial for Taco Bell? Never makes sense. Doesn't have to. Doesn't affect the bottom line. They'll put out a product that has the exact same ingredients as 6 other products on their current menu. They just change the name or shape of it and try to make you feel dumb when you call them out on it. They're like, you've never had this. This is seasoned steak, lettuce, cheese, tomatoes, and sour cream encased in a flour tortilla. How does that sound? I mean, it sounds like a steak burrito. Well, it's not. One more time for the new guy. All right, steak burrito. See it right here? It's rolled up. Big deal. This, guys, what we did here is we fold in the sides and we press it with a t-shirt iron. What is so hard to understand about the technology we've invested to make crunch wraps? That's it. They make up food names. Like, those things don't exist. There's no such thing as a crunch wrap. Their dessert menu's a joke. They just take other desserts you've heard of and change it a little bit. They're like, we're the only ones that have Cinnabon bites. Isn't that just a cut up Cinnabon? I mean, yeah, but we cut it up for you, okay? You could say gracias. My bad. Is there like a cool container you're gonna serve them to me in? No, man, it's just a drink cup. But we gave it a Slurpee lid so you could cut your fingers trying to get the ones off the bottom. So, de nada.
Just to catch a crowd, if you want to feel worse about yourself, watch America's Got Talent. Great way to make yourself feel like a useless piece of garbage. Because the things people do on America's Got Talent are just so insanely impressive. And then they also have these crazy backstories of adversity. that make it even more impressive. Someone will go up and be like, "Hi, everyone. My name's Connor. I'm 14 years old. I was born with a very rare eye disease that has rendered me almost completely blind. At the age of 2, I started juggling butcher knives, which has been tough because of, the blindness. Now I perform and panhandle on street corners to help support my paralyzed single mother." I'm watching, like, yeah, well, I just made an omelet all by myself. Very humbling show to watch. And I can tell the things that people do on America's Got Talent are, like, insanely impressive, but it's too impressive for, like, the average viewer to, like, emotionally connect to, and that's what you want, Like, I just think, like, someone will go up there and be like, "Hi, judges, for my performance today, I'm going to be solving 30 Rubik's Cubes in 5 seconds while on fire." Or, like, do something crazy. I think you just say something more relatable. I want to see someone go on stage and be like, "Hi, judges, for my performance today, I will be assembling this IKEA wardrobe without saying the F word." I'd be like, "What? No chance. How's he going to do that?"
I want to see a Casablanca that's made today. Whoever plays the part of Rick is there up all night, drowning their sorrows, and he's like, "Of all the safe spaces in all the world, she or they had to wander into my nonprofit. That's right, it's a CBD cigarette. I'll have as much of it as I want and it won't hurt my lungs. Give me another White Claw. I can drink White Claws all night. Play it again, Shazam. You played it for her or them, you can play it for me, Shazam." Thank you.
I like the Zodiacs, but I think some of them, they sound quite offensive in the Western context. Like, I remember when my dad was introducing, like, our family to other people, and he'd tell other people our Zodiacs. It sounds so rude. He'd be like, "My wife's a pig. My daughter's a dog, and my son's a rat." Anyway, they're all born in the year of the horse, so... It was meant to be a good year, the year of the tiger. It was meant to be a hot one. It was not off to a good start for me. Off to a terrible start, actually. First day of the year of the tiger, I walked back into my house and I caught my housemate washing her dog with my shampoo. I couldn't believe it. It was this relaxing chamomile stuff. It was good stuff. It was expensive. Like, it's the best one at the 7-Eleven, and on the side of the label it was like vegan, organic, no animal testing. I had to call them up. I'm like, "It's been tested."
I like being married. Being married's fun. Me and my husband have a lot of fun together. I will say, I don't know if you can tell by the shape of my body, but I'm Irish Catholic. Is that a register? If you don't know what that means, if you ever walked past a white woman and you're like, "No way I could push her over," that's us. And that's sort of like a sturdy bunch. The stereotypes about Irish Catholic people are we drink and we fight. And I'm going to be honest, those are my big two. Okay, those are my two favorite things. And my husband hates to fight, hates it. And I will admit, sometimes I get a little overzealous. Like, my husband watches all of these classic rock documentaries. I don't know if there's any other white guys here tonight, huh? Any white guys? Woo, don't woo, not in this climate. Okay. Every single one of these classic rock documentaries, they're horrible to women. I don't know if you've ever seen any. Every single one, they're like, "Chick got pregnant, so we left her at a truck stop. Rock and roll, baby." And it makes me so angry. And recently, I walk in our bedroom. He's watching this classic rock documentary. Huge performance scene. Full band, one single woman on stage. And she was holding this little guitar. Okay, I know. This set me off. I was like, "Oh, the woman's gotta hold the little guitar. She got on the little guitar with the little woman arms. Huh? She can't hold a big guitar like you big strong man. She got on the little guitar." I'll never forget. He goes, "Honey, that's a violin." I go, "Oh, you're gonna mansplain me violins now." Unbelievable.
I was walking around my neighborhood, walked past a Girl Scout selling cookies at a table with her mom next door. I walked close to the table. I saw the Girl Scout was signing autographs for people. So I was like, "Oh, you a movie star?" Her mom's like, "Her picture's on the box." I looked down at the box. Her picture was on the box. I'd never seen this before. I freaked out. Then I got a little competitive. I was like, "Well, the only reason I ask is I'm actually a movie star." I don't know what movies you've seen at your young age, little Janie, but I bet you saw one called Pootie Tang. You remember the guy in the car? You're talking to him. What about the wrestler? Did you see that one, little Janie? Yeah. I got to go to the Venice Film Festival for the premiere, huh? I mean, they made me pay my own way, but when I got there, they let me watch a movie. Yeah, $3,300 flight. $700 for a tux, yeah. Anyway, give me a box of Samoas, make it out to Todd.
Trying to be a dad. We have a girl. I want a girl for the cookies. If we're being honest, Girl Scouts have the best cookies, okay? They raise $800 million a year for charity. They have a cookie called the Samoa that's so good it doesn't offend the Samoans. And not to make friends or enemies out of anyone here, but Boy Scouts sell popcorn. They sell popcorn for like $26 a bag. Girl Scouts sell cookies for like $5 a box. So besides proving that a wage gap exists, I'm not sure what they're doing with the popcorn.
Am I the only one who thought the words to La Bamba were ba-da-da-da, La Bamba? Talk about being rocked to your very foundation. I was at a bar, I was watching a football game. Turns out the other half of the bar is karaoke. Somebody decides to sing La Bamba. We all make decisions in life. I glance up at the screen to do a lyric check, more for Soy Capitan than anything, but I notice where I expect to see ba-da-da-da, which is what I've been singing my entire life, I see a Spanish phrase, para bailar. I immediately say, people, they've got the wrong words up here. We all know it's ba-da-da-da. But I was mistaken. It is, in fact, para bailar, which means, Spanish speakers, to dance. Yes, in order to dance. That's what I discovered. You know what ba-da-da-da means? Same thing. Much easier to pronounce. I was so upset. I felt betrayed because I know I've sung that in the presence of Spanish speakers. Nobody ever corrected me. I'm out there putting it all on the line like ba-da-da-da la bamba, ba-da-da-da la bamba. They're like, ba-da-da-da, what the hell is this guy singing? I don't think that means anything in any language.
And our daughters are hilarious. The 16-year-old got me with a zinger the other day. She asked me, she's like, well, hey, why do you guys sleep with a fan on at night? And I told her, I'm like, look, I don't like sleeping in silence. I struggle with that, so I turn the fan on high, and I get to sleep with some white noise. And she goes, white noise? I just thought white noise was anytime you gave your opinion on something.
My entourage, my grandma and her friends, yeah, they're in their 90s, dude. You don't feel old around them. Like when I turned 40, I had a panic attack. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it, I'm 40. Around them, they're like, what? What? You're just a child. You're still a child. And I'm like, yeah, I'm still a child. But I feel bad for them because they don't have that in their life. Like when they turn 90, they don't have anybody making them feel better. Like they don't have a friend that's like 150 to tell them that, you know what I mean? When they're like, I can't believe it. I am 90. They don't have a 150-year-old friend like,
A lot of people don't know that Vancouver, we have some great tourist attractions, but our best tourist attraction is the crackhead flea market. You never know what you're going to get offered in stolen items. It's amazing. Every time you walk down the street, somebody's like, do you want to buy a Fabergé egg and a Nickelback CD? Not really in the market for that. How about a bike with one wheel and a microwave lid? I don't know what I could do with that. How about a broken DVD player and a half-eaten Ferrero Rocher? Sold.
I respect all of y'all and your money. Hell yeah. Any poor people make it out? What's up? Hell yeah. Thank you for coming out. Thank you. But next time somebody asks you if you're poor, don't say nothing. That's why you're poor in the first place. You keep saying out loud. Stop that. Be cool and quiet like the riches over here. Cool and quiet. Yeah. I like that, man. Rich people never tell you how much money they got. They never tell you they rich. You ask them a direct question, they give you an indirect answer, you know? You got money? Oh, we're all equal. You know, that's not what I asked. I asked if you had money, you know? That's why sometimes I gotta ask in a different way, you know, ask smoothly, subtly, be cool. Be like, hey man, you play golf? What's up? You a golf player? How you doing? You, all right. Golfers, man, they're always coy too. They're all, I play, but I'm not that good, you know? I'm a member, but I never go, you know, that kind of like, so cute. You never meet like a loud golfer, right? Like a cocky golfer, right? Come off the green like, man, I golfed the out of that round. Like I'm the
Dr. Pimple Popper. Another good one that makes you feel good. Again, we have these down days, these down weeks. Life gets tricky, man. People don't talk about it enough that just how much certain shows can just give you that mood boost that you're looking for. Could really turn the entire year around. Dr. Pimple Popper is a show where you're like, man, I needed this. I was having a weird off week. I missed my best bud's birthday. I was late on a cable payment. Then you turn on Pimple Popper and you're like, at least I'm not that guy. You know what I'm saying? At least I'm not walking into her office like, hey, I got a foot on my shoulder. You got any cream for the shoulder foot, Dr. Pimple Popper? It's like, Jesus, Grover, how'd you escape Sesame Street? Got out of your contract?
I like saying thank you to the pilot when I walk off the plane. I like doing that. How many people say thank you to the pilot when you get off the plane? All right. It's a decent amount, but it's not everybody. What's wrong with you? Why are you gonna be a jerk? That's all they want. That's all a pilot wants. If you fly, that's the first thing. As soon as they park, the door just flies open at the front. They're just like... Hey, did you notice how we didn't all die? You're welcome. You're welcome for that. I did that for you. And we all just shuffle off in our pajama bottoms and Crocs, like, don't make eye contact with me. So rude. That's all they want is a thank you for that job. They're up there. They're tucked in up there. They are tucked in with dress shoes the whole time. And we're back there with like half a in sweatpants. Like, nodding off on pills and tiny bottles of booze. They're wearing a goddamn sport coat up there for you. You ever look in a cockpit? It's a panic room. It's just a chamber. It's a chamber of anxiety for anybody that doesn't know. And they know all the buttons, all the switches. They know what to do. The windshield, that's arbitrary. That's for us. If a pilot sees something wrong out the windshield, we're dead. We're already dead. Like nobody's gonna get on a plane without a windshield. That's for you guys to feel all right. If something's going wrong out there, we're f***ed, man. We're just straight up f***ed. I'll tell you that. At the beginning, they get in there and just know. They're like, every switch, like, don't die, don't die, don't die. Will not die. We won't die here. Won't die if I do that. Better not die, better not die, better not die. Oh, here's the big old good luck lever. We need that. Don't die. Almost, if I didn't do this, we would have definitely died. Look, thank God, don't die. And here we go, not dying. And then we all just hung over, shuffling off like the landing was a little choppy. I don't know.
One thing I don't like is a baby on an airplane. I mean, seriously, on my flight here, there was a baby on board that I wanted to murder. Never got the chance, though, because it was sleeping quietly the entire time on the opposite side of the plane.
I'm falling apart, and I know what it's from. It's from Little Debbie Zebra Rolls. I've ruined my body by eating a mass-produced snack cake. That's the decision I've made. But they're amazing. They're so good, and some of you might be thinking, I love Little Debbie zebra cakes. Not what I said. You can shove the cakes up your ass. Figuratively, of course, because they're hexagons. Can't shove a hexagon up your ass, and if you can, you're doing Kegels wrong. In my opinion, Little Debbie zebra cakes, it's not enough cake and it's way too much frosting. And the frosting is plasticky, so it gums up on the roof of your mouth, and you have to try to scrape it off with the back of your tongue. That makes you look like an idiot, because that's how they made animals talk in the movies. Where's your mom? We'll find her. But what Little Debbie has done is she's taken this cake, which is a great idea in theory, and she's turned it into a roll. She's streamlined it to the perfect ratio of both cake and frosting. I'm gonna tell you something. I don't know if Little Debbie's a real person or not, but if she is, she's a It's a tough word to say when you're at half capacity already. Right? Because I know I'm gonna lose people when I say that word. And by people, I mean white ladies, and that's fine. And also men sitting next to white ladies that now have a don't you dare laugh pinch mark on their inner thigh, right? It's like, I'm sorry. I know you told me before we left. Have you ever had Little Debbie zebra rolls? You haven't? Well, welcome to tomorrow. You're diabetic? Yeah, me too, my foot hurts. I would rather hop on one foot for the rest of my life than give up Little Debbie zebra rolls. They're even perfect for the pandemic because you don't have to really grab them that much. You have to get it to your mouth, and as soon as you do, you can just flat palm that and shove it in like a wood chipper. You don't even have to chew it if you don't want. It's the same shape as your throat. You can just shove it in. And if one gets stuck, unwrap another one, knock it loose. It's like you're putting batteries in a flashlight. It's incredible.
I'm a Southern Jew. I learned my great-grandparents immigrated from Poland to Alabama because they didn't know anything about it, apparently. They're like, it ranked number 1 in alphabetic. I do, as a Jew, I like it here. I feel like this is our place. There's so many Jews here. We got all kinds of Jews in New York City. We got the regular Jews, Hasidic Jews. Those are the ones who look like they're wearing all of their clothes at once to avoid checking a bag, you know? In the South, very few Jews, and more anti-Semitism, which is very frustrating to me. How can you hate Jews when you've never even met the most annoying ones, you know? Come on. Southern anti-Semitism, it's speculative, it's abstract. It's like a liberal arts degree. They're like, I hate the Jews. I'm like, all right, what conspiracy blog did you read? When a New Yorker is like, I hate the Jews, I'm like, okay, what'd your landlord do this week? Let's hear it.
But I do get a lot of questions, you know? The most common question I deal with, as if it's really any different, people like to say, oh, so what's it like having a wife from Saudi Arabia? As if I'm gonna say something like, well, you know, there's always shoes flying everywhere, but the oil money's good. Like, what am I? Yeah, like, what am I supposed to say? She's a woman, she complains. Yeah. The only difference is half the time I don't understand what she's complaining about. But she's a very passionate woman. I love that, you know? Like they say, Latina women are excitable. Well, Arab women are explosive. No pun intended. You know, it's, yeah. She's very passionate. But she'll contradict herself sometimes. One moment she'll say something like, I love where I'm from, I love my people, and I love my culture. And 5 minutes later, she's like, I don't trust any Arabs. I'm like, what the?
I am
a heterosexual man. I've always been attracted to females, but there are certain guys who make me nervous. You know what I mean? Like every now and then I'm just like, oh, hello. Like I never know when it's gonna happen. Like there's this guy that works in the bagel shop in our neighborhood. I can't even make direct, like he has the most mysterious blue eyes. I can't even look him directly in the face. Like as the line moves up, it's like I hope I get him, but I also don't hope I get him. Like my heart is beating faster. My mouth is dry. Finally I get up to the front, I'm just like, cream cheese, you decide. I don't know what it is. I'm not sexually attracted to him, but I just want him to like me. Desperately.
I had fun with a lot of stuff back when I was in college. Right? It's easier to have fun when you're going to school, have less responsibilities. I had fun with an ant infestation. Might sound unusual, but it's true. I had a terrible, terrible ant infestation my senior year, like thousands and thousands of ants. Never considered calling an exterminator. Overjoyed that they were pouring into the house. Why call an exterminator? You don't call for backup, when you've declared war. Those ants march into a house of death. I used to like to lure them onto the kitchen counter with some maple syrup. Maybe they think it was a sign of peace. Maybe I wanted to sign a tiny little treaty with them. They were horribly mistaken. I'd let them gather, then I'd get a can of WD-40 to match. Hello, napalm. This is war, ants. I'd burn them, but I'd leave a few alive, and I'd watch them walk back into the wall and pretend they were sending a message to the Queen. He's gone mad, Your Majesty. He burned Richard. That's exactly how they talk inside my head. If you want to have fun with ants, but you don't want to actually hurt them like that, you can also just kind of psychologically torture them. I discovered how to do that as well. Take one ant, put him in a Tupperware container full of sugar, seal him in, and just start laughing. This is his worst nightmare. All the sugar he could ever want, nowhere to take it. Walk around and around, just losing his tiny mind. After like an hour, you take him out, throw him back on the anthill, and laugh some more. They're gonna have questions he can't answer. We smell the sugar, Nigel. Where is it? I do not know, sire. I do not know. Yeah, those ants were British. All ants are British because they colonize.
I'm quite afraid of drugs. I'm quite terrified of them, I'm afraid of a regular mushroom. A portobello freaks me out. Too fleshy. To give you an idea of how afraid of drugs I am, recently I had 2 antihistamines. And I looked at the packet, it said, take 1 a day. I was like, oh my God, I've OD'd. Is this how Amy Winehouse went out? I'm watching Euphoria like, I relate.
Good. I think a lot of it is society's fault. By the way, can I recommend the next time you're worried about a personal flaw, just blame society. It feels good, because not only do you get to seem like clever and insightful, you also just get away with whatever's wrong with you. I think you'll find it's society's fault my house smells like this. Good day.
I've been doing comedy pretty much my whole adult life. I did have one day job out of college. I worked for 6 months at a day program, which is basically a daycare for adults with severe mental and physical disabilities. And, I really have had so much help in my life. So my thought was like, let me go back in the world and give some of that back. And I worked there for 6 months, and that is because I couldn't take anymore. And now let's just be clear about this situation. Had nothing to do with the people that came in for the services. The problem is, every morning they would come into the facility on the short bus. And I gotta tell you, there was nothing that I could do to convince the driver that I worked there. I go, all right, man, thanks. I got it from here. Okay, buddy. Who's a good helper? Who's a good helper? You're a good helper. Why don't you go inside? Go get a person. I'm like, I'll break your wrist, sir. All my new coworkers just looking out the window, laughing their ass off. Send them out again. 6 months of that shit. I snapped one morning. I picked up a helmet and I put it on and I got on the dude's bus. I was like, take me home. I'm done here, I'm done. And now I do comedy. Career move.
I'm from 1980. I've slowly time traveled here in an unimpressive but achievable manner. The tail end of Generation X. For a hot minute, all the 1980 kids really tried to pull a fast one on America. And they were like, actually, we're neither Gen X nor millennial. We're something in between. Call us gazillennials. Here's 35 think pieces to try to convince you. And I was like, I was like, shut up, you're embarrassing all of us. We got stuck on the uncool train, you cannot hop off. You're Gen X, deal with it. Yes, and the younger Gen X people don't understand some of the things about the older Gen X generation, like Elvis Costello, but like, that doesn't make you your own generation. And if there's something I believe in more than anything in this country, it's the generation, like designating and criticizing generations. That's what this country was built on. That's an important industry in this country. It employs tens of thousands of people. Generational science, of course. As a generational researcher, I have many things to say about the topic. If you're following generation science, as I like to call it right now, they have a controversy. You look at a Wikipedia page of any generation, they don't know what to call the next ones. They had Gen X, they had Gen Y, now they're at Gen Z. They're the ones growing up and showing up places, and now they're like, what do we call the next people? What could possibly come after Generation Z? We're at the end. I suppose we could round the horn and go to AA or something. Reset the system. My God, who could have foreseen it? Why did you start the countdown at the third to last letter of the alphabet? You had 23 other options to enter. I know the answer to that. The answer to that is Generation X was the first generation of people that had to be shamed en masse. Before that, all the generations were just compliments. They are the greatest generation. Well, they're the silent generation. These ones, they're the baby boom. Bop, bop, baby boom. We're just babies. We f everything up, but we're babies. I'm a 75-year-old baby that owns everything. It's not my fault.
I find a balance and a fairness in this world, just an equilibrium, whenever I see an attractive person getting on a Southwest flight last. That's when I know that there is some small undercurrent of justice in this world. You know, you just see a supermodel, just somebody gorgeous, a gorgeous individual, and then you see that C on their boarding card, and you know they have no idea. And you're like, oh, honey, you're about to learn how the world really works. Yeah, you got bumped off a United flight or something. Now you're here with the great unwashed. This is gonna be fun. Because they always stand at the front of the plane with nothing but middle seats open. They're just like, I can't, but why? But what am I gonna do? You're gonna rub some elbows with some stinkers. That's what you're gonna do. Squeeze in here with some slobs coming home from Vegas and make some friends.
And I love horror movies, you know, that's where I grew up on. Do you love horror movies? You have a favorite horror movie? Get Out. Get Out? I like Pretty Woman. You thought I said horror. Understandable, no. No, I like it. Have you ever seen Blackula? Blackula is fantastic. 1972, William Marshall plays Blackula. The first scene in Blackula, Dracula bites a black guy. This is easily anticipated if you know the name of the movie you're watching. And then Dracula goes, I christen you Blackula. And they cut. And I wish they would just hold it for 5 more seconds. So you can hear Blackula go, ha ha ha. What the did you say my name was? Just to watch Dracula backpedal. Look, as the king of vampires, I come from a position of privilege that I clearly didn't take into consideration when I made that joke, which is not indicative of my feelings in any way. I won't even eat Count Chocula. Like, I'm committed. I want you to know my truth. That's what this is about. And then all the bros with podcasts will drag Dracula for backpedaling to Blackula. You gotta double down on that all the time. You gotta just double down. That's the problem. There's no real men anymore. But for all you real men listening, here's a commercial for a pill that will give you a boner.
A little side note, when I was 16, I had a driving instructor. He was from Germany. I was a little fat Jewish kid, and that was terrifying for me, okay? I was a little fat kid. I had a little mullet, sideburns shaved in, you know, little lightning bolts shaved in the side. He turned to me. We were driving in the car. He was like, when you are parallel parking, you must always make sure not to Hitler's the car in front of you. It was like he said Hitler. I heard him say Hitler. I could hear him sitting right next to him. We were driving together. He was like, if you cross a double yellow line, you'll get a very expensive ticket, and you'll not be allowed to pay half of the cost of the ticket. You will be responsible for the Holocaust. What? Responsible for the Holocaust? What, are you kidding me? He tried to teach me how to do hand signals. He was like, put your hand out the window and left turn. No, I will not do hand signals. I still don't do hand signals to this day. Not doing hand signals. He would yell at me all the time we were driving. He was like, when you get to a stop sign, you need to make a full and complete stop. I was like, can you please stop yelling at me? You're freaking me out. He was like, maybe you should hide in your attic like a little girl. Oh no, that's an Anne Frank joke. And you fell for it. And now you're going to hell. And I'll see you there.
I now feel if you want to feel generally positive about the current state of the United States of America on a global cultural scale, what you need to do is you need to watch 90 Day Fiancé on TLC, because you watch that shit and you realize America must be doing something right, dude. Because people all around this world are lining up, doing whatever it takes, throwing it all away just for the chance to make it somewhere in the Midwest. They don't give a where they end up. They just want, they'll do anything, up to and including marrying the biggest jabroni in the state of Ohio, gladly. They'll interview this guy on there. He's like, yeah, my name's Jason. I'm a 35-year-old dodgeball coach. And ever since my mom kicked me out, I've been looking for Miss Right, you know, like the type of woman that knows how to load the dishwasher and keep her mouth shut during Buckeyes games, that type of thing, right? And you're listening like, I don't like your chances, Jason. You don't seem like much of a catch to me. Then they cut to some beautiful girl in Estonia or somewhere like that, just like, Jason is man of my dreams. I often fantasize about being with him and eating hamburger helper off of paper plate.
I've been married 3 years now, and I love being married. When I'm on the road, I see men talk to women in the wild, and it's crazy. I was checking in at a hotel. Woman behind the counter, very pretty, and the guy in front of me is being a creep. I'm watching him. I'm 20 feet behind him, but I can hear it go down, right? He's checking in, and the woman goes, do you have any preference of what floor you stay on? And I swear to y'all, this guy leans forward. He goes, what floor are you staying on? She goes, I'm not. I work here. I don't stay at the hotel that I work. Do you think I'm a guest just chipping in down here in the lobby? Is that honestly how you think we staff this La Quinta? You think you gotta be the lifeguard tomorrow? I don't stay at the hotel that employs me, you moron. So he walks away, tail between his legs, rightfully so. Now I'm up next, right? I saw the whole thing go down. So I was like, okay, I'll bond with her over what a creep the last dude was. So I'm checking in, and she says, how many room keys do you want? 1 or 2? So I go, how many room keys do you want? And she did not get the reference at all, dude. I looked way worse than the first guy, if I'm being honest. The look on her face, she's like, they just keep coming in today. I mean, is there a creep convention in town? What's happening here?
Look, all I'm saying is, we've gone too far with oat milk. What are we gonna milk next? Wood chips? Drywall? You people are sick. You're sick. This is awful. It tastes like a broom closet. Oh, Los Angeles. I know you guys rail oat milk, you sickos. It's disgusting. It's a horrible milk replacement. A con artist, really. It's sort of like when the dude with the same name as my ex-boyfriend hits on me. It's like, oh, okay. Nice try coming back in a different body, dude. I know what you're doing, you wicked shapeshifter. Please, think I was born yesterday? Think again, bitch.
I'm not much of a gun guy. I'm against them for moral reasons, sure, but mostly I don't like guns because I think guns place an unnatural limitation on the diversity of tough guys in a given population. Because if you're in a situation and there's a guy who looks like he has a gun, that's the tough guy there, right? No one else is gonna be the tough guy because it's the guy with a gun who's a tough guy. You know the kind of guy I'm talking about, right? You know the guy who looks like he has a gun, pulled up to the bar in the biggest, whitest, cleanest truck you've ever seen in your entire life. Such a big truck, so tall, way too tall for any practice. Unless you're helping Shaq move, that's not useful at all. You know what I mean? Like an aggressive window decal professing their political views, like a fundamental misunderstanding of the Punisher character from comic books. That guy. It's such a silly way to share your beliefs. Because it's a sticker. You know, from like when we were little guys, right? Like, still a sticker. If you ever see one of those guys with one of those stickers and you're like, whoa, like you're a little intimidated. If it's like, if you get an abortion, I'll kill you. You know, like on a sticker. Just picture him putting the sticker on. Just picture him standing up in the back of his Ford F-350 like... Bring me another Calvin pissing on Hunter Biden.
I celebrate the differences between Jews and non-Jews. If you don't think there are differences, you're out of your mind. There are. If you don't believe me, go to Home Depot. Go to Home Depot. Home Depot is a code. It means Jews, you have no business shopping in here. Everyone that's not Jewish walks in there, they know exactly what they need. I need a 3x2 bipipe with reversible threading and a drip clamp, and the guy's gone. Jews walk into Home Depot, they look constipated. And then a half hour, does anybody work here? Does anybody work here out of pity, out of Rachmanis? They come over to help us. What are you looking for there, Jew? And we have no idea what the stuff's even called. I'm looking for the thing that goes inside. It's the piece that goes in before you put the other, you screw in the piece that's in. Oh, an anchor, that's it, an anchor. Beth, it's called an anchor. Yes, my neighbor, the guy, is gonna help me put shelves up, which is one of the nicest ways to use the word guy.
Here's the thing. I love that kid so much. I really do. But at the same time, and I'm 100% sincere when I say this, I also resent her. I really do. Because she's rich. She's a rich kid, and I know it's not right. I know it's a leftover hangover prejudice I had since I was a kid. I grew up really poor, and I was always suspicious of rich people. I didn't get it. I didn't like it, and I just didn't like rich people. I still don't, you know. And I'm rich. I'm rich, you know. I mean, I'm not rich. I pay my taxes, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean, and.
Like, I'm fortunate. I've never had an inkling to ever do drugs, and I honestly think it's parenting, but also, like, I remember the generation that had the greatest anti-drug commercials of all time, and that was back in the 80s. Yeah, they terrified you. I don't care who you are, you've all seen the most famous anti-drug commercial ever, all right? It was the frying pan, and the eggs, and the brains. Any questions? It was awesome. But that hit me when I was so young. I didn't understand the message. I thought the eggs were the drugs. I was all kind of confused. But my second favorite anti-drug commercial ever, this one's so underrated, right? It starts off on just a dark screen, and you hear a guy's voice say, 1 out of every 5 people who try cocaine get addicted. And then it pans out, and there's a beautiful young blonde woman just snorting a massive line of cocaine. And then the voice kicks back in. But that's not your problem. Or is it? And that camera pans out, and that same woman who just snorted the blow is driving a children's school bus. Woo! Which is the most unrealistic commercial of all time. Because if that beautiful woman driving the school bus was hooked on cocaine, then the lady who drove my elementary school bus was made of cocaine, all right? I don't know if you guys remember school bus drivers in the 80s. But back then, I don't think you were allowed to drive a school bus unless you looked like you should never be driving a school bus. I vividly remember my kindergarten school bus driver. This lady was a beast, all right? She had like a Brian Bosworth flat top up to here. She looked like a bad guy from Lethal Weapon. Does that make sense? Like, she looked like Gary Busey. It was weird. And she had a gap tooth that would make Michael Strahan do a double take. Like, oh, fit. Like, that's how big. And her right arm was bigger than her left arm from cranking open that big door, you know? Never knew what day it was she would crack open the door. Happy Friday! I'm like, it's Cocaine Tuesday, Brenda. It is Cocaine Tuesday.
Why do we stop burping people? It's so weird. Like, think about a baby. One of its main needs is to be burped. It cries, it's in pain. You pop it on the back a couple times, all better. Why do we cut that off at 2? All I'm saying is I'm pretty sure we could fix this country's acid reflux problem. You just gotta burp your buddy every now and again. Aren't you sick of taking all these antacid tablets to just stay alive? I'm telling you, man, we're gonna shut down Big Pharma. It's my Burp America campaign. Hook a brother up. And this really works. I mean, I'm not selling you no fish oil here. Is it snake oil? Sorry guys, sometimes I get my animal oils mixed up. I gotta take more fish oil to remember it's snake oil. All right, not too many homeopaths out there. Yeah. Oh, there's one. I'm telling you, I had some horrible acid reflux. And then one day I realized that my kids are now big enough to burp me. Like, payback's a bitch. Why don't you go get daddy's burping beach towel and... Let's move some chili around, you know?
You know, there was a thing I read recently that was, there was a woman in Decatur, Georgia. She heard some buzzing. You're gonna love this one then. She had 120,000 bees living in her ceiling. This is true, you can Google it later. Just put in 120,000 and bee, it'll autocorrect bees. And I don't know about you guys, Denver, but I feel like if I see 5 bees, I'm like, there's a lot of bees here. We should do something about our bee problem. But you know, me, maybe I'm some liberal coastal elite mother who notices bees, you know? Let's say 10,000 bees. Wow, 10,000 bees coming and going from your house, doing what they do, eating leaves and shit. I don't know much about bees' lives or what they eat. That definitely seems like enough bees to be like, bees. No? What about 20,000 bees? That's 2 times 10,000 bees, which already seemed like a lot to me. No? 30,000 bees? I talked to a bee person. 30,000 bees is 9 pounds of bees. That's a healthy baby boy of bees. Definitely seems like enough bees to be like, we have bees here. No? 40,000 bees. That is a golden doodle of bees. Woof, woof. There are bees here. No, we're not noticing them yet? 50,000 bees. 50,000 bees. That's Dodger Stadium of bees. Each bee has its own seat. Adorable, but a lot of bees. Empirically, a lot of bees. What? 60,000? What are you talking about? 60,000 bees and we haven't noticed them? That's a Nissan Juke filled with bees. And they're packed in tight. They're holding each other, tip to tail, tip to tail. They could drive the thing if they could figure it out, but they can't because they're bees. Nary a peep from this woman at 60,000 bees. It takes 2 Nissan Jukes filled with bees before this woman is like, there appear to be bees here. And that's America, guys.
And if you get to the point in your life when you wake up one morning and think, you know, I need a chimp. You're doing too much. Chimpanzees are horrible animals. If you've ever read a newspaper story about someone who's been attacked by a chimpanzee, the wounds are always horrific. And they're always the same. Because chimpanzees are born with this thing called an attack protocol. Chimpanzees are born knowing how to kill you. The first thing a chimpanzee does when it attacks you, and I'm going to tell you. I want you to know. They say that when a bear attacks you, you're supposed to make yourself look as physically imposing as you possibly can and speak very soothingly. The trial and error that went into figuring that out is written in the blood of campers. Bear! Mersey dotes and dozy dotes and little emsy timey. Don't sing pop songs from the 30s. Next! But bears are so stupid. Bears think we all walk around with in our pants. Because everyone they've ever caught well, we're 12 for 12, you tell me. Let's just eat the top half and go find some garbage. Should we tell them we speak English? Why? So we can talk about the in their pants? Here's your head.
And this is strange, but my entire family and I, including my mom, are actually world champion foosball players. Yeah, thank you. And my mom is in the Foosball Hall of Fame. Yeah. But every time my mom gets a new nurse, the nurse will always ask her about her life. And my mom always goes, well, I'm in the Foosball Hall of Fame. And every nurse goes, sure you are. Mm-hmm. And I'm always standing there like, oh, yeah, no, I know that sounds made up, but I swear it's real. And the nurse is like, hey, you don't have to. And I'm like, lady, I swear to God, I can show you her trophies. I can show you a video of her playing. And that's when the nurse starts to look at the other nurses like, oh, does the daughter have dementia too? It's like a T-Mobile family plan of dementia. It's like too weird to believe. And my mom growing up was also somebody you did not want to cross. My parents got divorced in the 90s, back when there were home phone answering machines. And before the divorce, our answering machine message was my dad saying, "You've reached the Cooks, please leave us a message." And then after the divorce, my mom had changed it to her just blasting Alanis Morissette's "You Oughta Know." So every time my dad would call, my mom would let it go to the machine so that if he wanted to leave a message for her, every time, he first had to sit through the lyrics, and I'm here to remind you of the mess you left when you went away. I mean, that's a bad move right there. That takes balls. Because it's not like that was just the message for when my dad called. That was the message for literally anybody who called our house. So after a while, we started to get messages from people like, "Hey, this is Dave from Blockbuster. And I'm here to remind you." Your Space Jam VHS is overdue. Really sorry about whatever you're going through.
Every moment in my childhood was a crisis. It didn't matter how insignificant. Everything was a tragedy. It was like growing up in an opera. It was like, "You took my keys. You took my keys. I know you took my keys. I did not. I did not. I did not. The toilet's clogged. Again. Bring me the plunger. I will fix it. Get it yourself. Get it yourself. I am not your slave. I will plunge a toilet. I will plunge a toilet. What do I see? It's my keys. Yeah, they're out of their minds, my parents. Bunch of screaming Italians who are all law-abiding citizens as far as you know. That's the culture I grew up in. I basically grew up in a crime family without the money, power, or influence. Yeah, just the fear and paranoia, that's all I got. Yeah, my Uncle Tony is a little shady. We used to call him Uncle T. The police called him a person of interest, but Yeah, I remember once he was staying over the house, right? It's early in the morning. He's downstairs in the kitchen. I came down the stairs. He looked at me and goes, "What? Come here. What? Come here. What? Get over here. You want eggs?" "What? I'm making eggs. You want eggs?" "Yeah, I'll have some eggs." "Shh, I don't want the neighbors to know I'm making eggs." Like the neighbors are gonna kick the door open. Like, "Where's the eggs, Tony? Where's the eggs? Don't you move, Adam. Get the cheese. I want an omelet. I want it now." To this day, every time I make eggs, I gotta lock the door. Every omelet I make has tomatoes and fear in it. I think of my Uncle Tony every time I tie a tie. Yeah, I was a little boy. He taught me how to do it. He said, "Hey, come here. Let me show you how to do this. You take the tie, right? And you talk to the two ends of the tie. And you tell them what you want them to do. You go, 'Hey, you two guys. You go around the alley, you go up the back stairs. Cut across the roof, you come down in front of the awning like you didn't see nothing. Then you walk, you do not run, you do not look back, and you meet above the belt buckle and make sure everything is even Steven. Now we take a pair of scissors and you cut the back of the tie off. This way nobody can choke you with your own tie." I was 12. Do you see where the paranoia in my life might have come from? I was making my confirmation. Father Dominic's in the back room like, boys, it's a big day for all of you. God loves each and every one of you. Adam, look how handsome you are. Let me fix your tie. I panicked, dropped, and swept the leg. I did that joke on TV and I got a bunch of mean tweets. You were painting the Italians as criminals. There's an insult to us. Shut up. Really. I mean, the biggest insult to the Italian people is the Olive Garden. I mean, come on. Seriously. That escaped your notice and you're coming after me? Come on. It doesn't even look like an Italian restaurant. No self-respecting Italian restaurant's gonna have a window that big so people can drive by and aim.
I had kind of a classic upbringing. My mom stayed at home, my dad worked. My mom, way too nice, I could get away with anything. Dad, he could get like too intense. You know, I always say if it was just me and my mom growing up, I would be in jail right now. And if it was just me and my father, he would be in jail. And I would be in a wheelchair. But, no, I know. I mean, some of y'all, I know you had a dad like that. Like, he never crossed the line, but he got pretty close. Like, there's a handful of times I set my dad off. I just make him so mad, he'd just scream out the first punishment that came to the top of his head, storm off. About 20 minutes later, he'd walk back out. All right, your mother and I discussed it. We determined you actually do not have to carry me on your back to my job every day. As previously shouted. They were a great happy medium, the two of them, and I got my humor from them. They were always messing with each other, poking fun at us. It was a great atmosphere. My mom, she was the easy target, my poor mother. Just this last Thanksgiving, she always makes the turkey. I was giving her a hard time. I'm really laying into her. I'm like, Mom, you overdo the turkey. I gotta be honest, we have tools now. We can check when it's perfectly cooked, take it out. Because I don't know about y'all, Utah. I grew up in a household where they were like, we're pretty sure the meat's done. Let's cook it another 4 hours. I grew up dunking my chicken in water, just trying to get... I looked like Joey Chestnut on the 4th of July. Oh. It was like, pass the A1. Like, you don't need the flavor. I need the lubricant. I can't... We love to roast each other. I was roasting my mom, but you know, my mom, the thing about her, she'll roast you right back. And she's visiting my house soon. And it's very scary when your boomer mom comes to visit your situation. They always have thoughts. They do. Don't they? My mom is coming to town. She's gonna judge me up and down, but don't misunderstand, she won't lecture me. She's gonna do it passive aggressively with just a look, a disappointing look. Reminds me of my childhood. Gotta get it back real good. So I changed her password on Facebook. Thank you. She's like, you know what, Trey? I'm just doing what my mom taught me to do. Cooking the turkey, whatever. I didn't grow up with all these phones, this and that. All I know is what my mom taught me. And it kind of occurred to me when we were 8 months pregnant, we got thrown a million links, podcasts, YouTube videos, you name it, to prepare us. And it's kind of amazing any of our parents did as well as they did raising us, considering they apparently just winged it. I think my parents' philosophy was just like, let's coach his little league teams and hit them. I think. But no, I know my dad loved me. You know, I think a lot of my generation, we like to blame our dads for their problems, blame your dad. You know, my father didn't convey to me he loved me enough, so I have nervous poops to this day. It's like, well, did your father ever show you he loved you with his actions? It's like, well, he worked every day for 45 years with no sick days, but I never got a poem. Maybe he loved you, maybe. And I know my father loved me, but he was old school, right? He did, wipe some dirt on a kid, real men don't cry, be tough, be a man, all that good stuff. But as the years have gone on, my father, he's gotten more and more sensitive, very emotional. I feel like that happens with age. Now, every time I see my father, I leave him. I'm like, all right, bye, Dad, love you. I'll talk to you later. He's like, all right, I love you so much, Dad. Well, I hope you know how proud I am of you. I was like, well, it's too late now. It's too... You used to whoop me for crying, so I'm a little confused.
I think about having kids. I do. I'm 37. I could have kids. I think about it. Until literally every time I call my brother, who has 3 boys under the age of 12. Yeah. Every time I call him, 30 seconds into our phone call, his entire life turns into the back half of the film Point Break. We'll just be chatting along, and then out of nowhere, he's like, 1 second, what's in your hands? Show me those hands! One's on the roof, one's on the roof. Where'd you get a Nixon mask? That joke does better if you've seen Point Break. I think it's crazy how quickly in life we separate children on whether or not they have a chance at life. We do. You may be like, what do you mean? What I mean is reading groups. That's when there's 6 and we're like, split them up. These are the maybes and these are just keep them busy. But they don't say like which one's the smart group and which one's the dumb group. They're cute with it. They're like, you're the red group and you're the blue group. But even at 6, you know. You're like, shit. My group loves glue. We can't get enough of this stuff. We're doing like glue charcuterie, like, why don't you take the glue stick, dip it in some wet cement? Yeah, it freaking rocks, okay? Maybe we should read a little bit. And they're like, we would, but remember how last reading we glued all the books shut? Damn it. We did and it rocked. It was fun. I remember one time, our teacher went to split it up. She's like, red group over here, blue group over here. And my buddy was like, we're not the blue group, we're the glue group, right? And I was like, no. We shouldn't be proud of what we're doing. We should be ashamed. This story is just dedicated to the fallen brothers of the glue group. A lot of them aren't here anymore. Yeah, they blew up a lot of garages. Yep. They went out doing what they did best, guys. Just not reading instructions at all.
Remember the first couple months of the lockdown is just some real dark days? Yeah, I just thought I'd bring you back there. I remember the first couple of months of that lockdown, the whole world's caving in around me. All of us, we don't know what the hell's going on. You lost your job, you're locked in your house with your kids. Just washing your mail and I tell you, man, I found myself doing all these childhood activities, like doing puzzles and playing board games and crying. Maybe throw in some long showers. Sometimes I'd cry in the shower. Just multitasking. I'll tell you this about the pandemic, like, I would rather cry than do a puzzle. I'd rather eat a puzzle. 1,000 pieces, no problem. And then in the morning, I shit at a rustic farmhouse. Which is weird, because it was a puzzle of a kitty. Something ain't right down there. Something's off. So stupid. All right.
I just don't trust anyone who's never worked a job where they thought about killing themselves at least once. Like, at least once. Like, once. You're just like, this could all end, and I can end it right now. I'm not even clinically depressed right now, but what if? What if I just killed myself, you know? That thing where you're like, God damn it, I got 5 hours left in this shift. Or... swallow 25 aspirin, I don't know. Whatever it takes. When you're bar backing, all you're doing is washing glasses and putting them away. Just stack them, put them away. And there's 2 or 3 bartenders that are slammed, and you're not allowed to make drinks. And there's beers and ice in front of you, and taps and liquor bottles behind you, and people are just like, just get me a drink. Just pour some whiskey in a cup. It's right there. There's a beer right there. God damn it. You're like, I can't. Please stop yelling at me. I'm not allowed. I'll be fired. Please, sir. What are you, a stupid monkey? You're just like, God damn it. I remember looking down at a stirring fork and being like, all it would take is just 2 right there. Just right there, and just bleed out in front of this dickhead. Looking at him, sit on a stool and be like, you did this. Just break all his drinks in half with my face and slide down the bar. Clean this up. Just die right there, staring at him, still dying. All behind the bar. You're cleaning this up, sir. You are. I don't know what you said. It crosses the mind, you know? Absolutely. But I think those jobs hone you and make you into the person you're supposed to be. If you've never worked a crap job, you know, that's bad, because you're not your truest self, you know? I think it's like MMA or something, right? It kind of makes you, you know, tough in your own way and find the real you. Like, I was always a funny person growing up, you know, I was always class clown and stuff, but I would get accidentally hilarious when I was a bartender. When I was slammed, and stuff would just come out of me, you know, that would kill. And I'd be like, I was just being serious. What, that was funny? Like, I remember being so busy, in the weeds, as we call it in the industry, the folks here know, I lost my sight. Like, I don't know if it was sweat in my eyes, I don't know if I was dehydrated, but my eyesight went blurry, and all I saw were colors and shapes. That's it. And I'm just pushing drinks out and hoping I'm making the right change and feeling credit cards like Braille to see who it is, you know? It was awful. And then some dick somewhere in front of me goes, am I invisible? And I said sincerely, who said that? And the whole bar cracked up. And I'm like, yeah, throw him out. And they did. The guy's like, hey! Threw him out the door. I am Caligula.
No idea. The only way I found out that we were not as wealthy as I thought was the first time I went over to a slightly richer family's house for Thanksgiving, and we all sat on the same kind of chair. I was blown away. I was like, you've got 11 of this one chair type? Are you secretly a duke of some sort? Like, every holiday meal at my house would be like, Ivan, go get the computer chair for Grandma. I'm dragging it down the hall. I wanted the computer chair. My mom's yelling out of the kitchen, no chance. You are sharing the piano bench with your brother. And you know it. We didn't have a piano, by the way. It's just the bench. My uncle's at the end of the table sitting on a yoga ball. Got a hole in it nobody can find, so he's slowly sinking for the entire meal. And I was like, I don't think we're as rich as I thought. So this was a problem, of course, when it came to buying a diamond ring. I didn't know anything about it. I knew I had to go to a jewelry store. I knew that I was going to interact with a commission salesperson at that store, which I was nervous about because I'm uncomfortable around commission salespeople. I'm very easily bamboozled by their tricks. I'm sure you can all tell this from my general vibe. Anybody watching this that works in sales, as soon as I walked up here, thought to themselves, this guy buys extended warranties. I know what I look like. I don't exactly know the kind of energy I give off on a first impression. I do know that it means if I go to any type of ethnic restaurant, it is a 100% guarantee that I will be cautioned about spice. It's not easy getting a medium with this face. Yeah, I'll have a medium. No, you won't. Not here, you won't. You had our medium? I doubt it. Guy looked like you got a medium yesterday. We had to call an ambulance. So you can have a mild and a milk. There's a lot of things I wish I knew going into this jewelry store. Number one thing I wish I knew about buying an engagement ring is you don't get to take the ring home from the store that day. Whoops, wish I knew that. They gotta make it the right size. So I just drove to the mall, maxed out my credit card, and then drove home with nothing. Like, gee, I sure hope they call. But they did call. I got lucky, I guess. I go back to pick up the ring. This is where it gets weird again. I show up, I was like, hi, my name's Ivan. You said my ring was ready? And the guy goes, oh yeah, okay. Then he goes in the back, he comes out. He's got the ring in a tiny Ziploc bag, like it was evidence in a murder. And he tried to hand it to me like that. I didn't even accept it. And he goes, oh, do you need a box? Yeah. Who's proposing without the box? That's the whole thing. How smooth of a guy do you think I am that I'm gonna kneel down and just dangle that out there like, babe! You wanna stay together till we're dead? They wrote my name on here in pen. Could be your name.
Yeah, man, I used to get bullied a lot because I didn't, like I said, I didn't cuss. They thought I was a snitch. They was like, what kind of person, what kind of, you don't, there's no adults here. You can cuss now. And I'm like, nah, man, it's bad. I used to get bullied. Anybody here get bullied? All right. Nice. 7 of y'all, the rest of y'all bullies? All right, got it. I used to get bullied a lot. I never got beat up though, because if you can beat me up, I'm not dumb. I'm not gonna fight you. So I used to get punked out as a kid all the time. Kids would be like, I'll knock you out. And I'm like, I agree. Unless there was people around, you couldn't punk me out if there was people around. One time there was a kid named Rodney. Any Rodneys here? I hate you. So this kid waited till the teacher left the classroom. Right? We all know teachers leave the classroom, students gotta act up. This man took a high school book from the other side of the classroom, threw the book at the back of my head. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm gonna act like I didn't notice that. There's some kid behind me was like, oh, snap! He just threw a book at your head. Like I actually didn't notice that. So I had to get up out my desk like, who just threw a book at my head? And Rodney was like, I did it. And I was like, since nobody wants to admit it, I'ma let it slide right now. And Rodney was confused. He was like, no, I was the one who just said that I threw the book at your head. I said, oh, word, it was you, Rodney? Do it again. Then he did it again. Just like I requested, right? Yeah. I love books thrown in my head. Then they got in my face. I said, get out my face, Rodney. And he goes, or what? And I said, or Mufasa with a beard in 10th grade, because that's who he sounded like. You deliberately disobeyed me. That's what he sounded like. I told him, I was like, listen, Rodney, I'm gonna give you to the count to the 147. And you gonna find out or what? And you don't wanna find out or what? I'm gonna say it one more time, I'm not gonna stop. He was like, do it. I said, oh, word. Want me to do it? Cool, say less. 1.5. 2. Dang it. Guess I gotta start again. Hopefully I finish before our teacher, Miss Iliza, come back. Before Miss Iliza come back. Come back, Iliza. She never came back. You just kept throwing books in my head. But I don't care, man. Because my life is great. I'm doing my second special. And honestly, I heard he's in jail right now. That's all right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. That's right, baby. They locked him up, threw the book at him. So I don't care. What's going on?
When he and I got together, we had that conversation about labels, because I felt ready to be called boyfriend and girlfriend, and he goes, you know, being in my 40s, I feel like I'm a little old to be called somebody's boyfriend, but if you call me your man friend, it sounds like I'm not allowed near playgrounds. I was like, all right, well, what are you gonna call me? And he goes, I'll just be like, this is my lady. And I was like, well, we're not at a Renaissance fair. So no. Also, I can't use the equivalent of that. I can't be like, Mom, Dad, I'd like you to meet my lord. And he's also a comedian. My ex-husband was actually a comedian too. I can't stop where I eat. No, I didn't tell you. My love life is a Chipotle. Just keep the eating and all under one roof. It's very convenient, very farm to table, you know. They're right there. And I wasn't much of a jealous girlfriend in my 20s, but then some switch flipped in my 30s. And now when I see somebody hit on the person I'm with, I just feel myself anamorph into the cast of Jersey Shore. I am ready to brawl. And he does get hit on. When he walks on stage, women whistle at him. And at comedy clubs, there's usually a security guard in the back to kick people out in case they heckle. So at his shows, I've just started to stand next to the security guard. And if I see a woman laughing too hard at one of his jokes, I just walk up and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. He's my favorite comedian. Well, he's my lord. Scoot, beat it. I feel like most people assume I'm exaggerating during that joke, but if you follow me online, you'll know I posted a video a few months ago of a woman who sat in the front row of one of my shows, and after I told that joke, she goes, your boyfriend is my favorite comedian. We've seen him like 8 times. And I was like, lady, did you not just hear that this is when I go snooky on somebody? What are you doing? And she doubled down. She's like, he's so cute. He's so hot. And he responds to my Instagram comments. And that's when I took out my hoop earrings. All the men in the crowd were looking around like, Gerry, Gerry, Gerry. It's like, yeah, time to fuck around and find out, madam. Get up here. I don't actually worry about my boyfriend cheating on me. I feel like men's bodies start to really turn on them in their 40s. He has to wake up every 2 hours in the night to pee. And when I see him in the morning with bags under his eyes, I hug him and I go, babe, I'm sorry you didn't sleep well. And then I think, You're too exhausted to cheat on me. You're not getting enough REM to pull off 2 relationships. I like you slow like this. Can catch you if I need to. Get back here. But now the second I see him start to reach for melatonin, I'm like, the f*** are you resting up for, huh? You stay sleepy. I don't usually mind our age gap, but there is that new filter on TikTok where couples are posting pictures together, and then a filter goes across the screen, and it shows you what you'll look like together in 50 years. Like it ages you. So I did that with a picture of me and my boyfriend, and when the filter went across the screen, it just made him disappear. It was just me holding an urn. I was like, what? No, please. And my boyfriend was like, I want to see the picture. I was like, oh, my phone died. And so did you. What am I going to do? He does hate that he looks older than me. He's been trying to get me to look older faster. I think he wants to, like, microwave my face. On my birthday, as a prank, he hid all of my expensive skin creams, and when I opened my bathroom cupboard, there was just a pack of cigarettes. Like a tanning bed coupon. Well, be careful what you wish for. You're gonna wake up next to Mick Jagger. I have been telling my single friends that they should date somebody older than them. It's the best. They got their lives together, they're financially secure. My boyfriend has a lake cabin. You think I give a shit that he has a fake hip? I don't.
So I know a lot of you saw me get 3rd place on America's Got Talent. Thank you. America's Got Talent is an amazing show to be part of. It is definitely a little weird because it's the largest talent show in the world. But it's like comedy versus whatever, right? Like, do you like one-legged unicyclists? How about 2 dogs in a duffel bag? Doesn't make any sense, this show. And I don't mind getting 3rd place. That's actually great. You know, I'm touring all over, and, well, I'm here tonight. Well, because this is what 3rd gets you. Yeah, f*** you, Hollywood. I'm going to Greenwood Village. Yeah. Vegas can suck it too. I'd rather be here any damn day. Well, I live here. It's great, you know. Again, 3rd place is amazing, but the thing is, me getting 3rd place just proves once again that Americans have no idea how to vote. Every chance you get, you f*** it up, man. Well, this guy seems like a real dumbass, huh? That's my guy, yeah. America's Got Talent, though, is they want to like get you to say crazy things in these interviews, so they'll be goating me like, so Josh, do you think that you're funnier than a little girl that can sing Pavarotti? I'm sure hope so. I know I could hip check her in the hallway and I'll I never wanted to beat up kids more in my life. Little talented get out of here. I will say this about America's Got Talent. It's very inclusive to the disabled community. Yeah. I mean, some people call it exploitation, but that's... No, it is a very inclusive show. Like, you know, I have cerebral palsy, and there's amazing acts like Cody Lee. He's blind and autistic. Man, he's amazing. Such an amazing talent. And then, like, it just all walks of life, like ballerinas with no arms, and like all the way down to magicians. I'm not sure what spectrum that is, but they're definitely on it. Again, I don't mind getting third place, but do you understand how humiliating it is to lose to a magician? I've never been more embarrassed in my whole life, I'm telling you.
We were at a restaurant. We were at a vegetarian restaurant. Lot of people. I didn't know all of them. And I did. We're there with a group, and I made the mistake of casually mentioning I was not vegetarian. And this one dude, most people are cool. One dude, what? You'll eat a steak? Yeah. Oh, but you don't want to watch them murder the cow. Nailed it. I love my brother. I don't want to watch my parents. You don't have to drag everything back to the point where it's awful. Everything is awful eventually. So I know a couple from back home, back east. The husband did not get vaccinated. The wife did get vaccinated. The husband got COVID. The wife did not get COVID. Do you know why? Because the husband was standing in front of the wife when the wind blew the COVID at them. You can be wrong. It's okay. When did that become illegal? You can make a mistake. You don't lose time off of your life. I was at a yard sale, not to brag. Yeah, I'm a big shot. I go to yard sales. No, we're at a yard sale, and there was this stack of old People magazines. People magazines that were old, not old People magazine. Not like Matlock Watcher, Denture Enthusiast, and my favorite, Extremely Legal. And there was a People magazine from 1986, and the cover story was, "The most respected man in America, Reader's Poll." You know who it was? Bill Cosby. Reagan came in second. True. We made a mistake. We didn't know. He was the most respected man in America. And then he went to prison. And then they let him out. I think they were afraid he was going to commit suifrazzle-frizzles. I went to high school in the 1980s. Every guy in my graduating class had a mullet. Seemed like a good idea at the time. You look in my yearbook now, it looks like I went to high school with a lesbian separatist militia. One day we'll be like that about vaping. Seemed like a good idea. The great taste of steam. And the ultimate example of we didn't know. Michael Jackson. We didn't know. And he didn't give us any signs. Who would have thought that a glow-in-the-dark skeleton who dressed like Napoleon and lived by himself in an abandoned amusement park with other people's children and a feral chimp would have such a creepy dark side? So I was in the airport the other day, and I see this really sweet sight. I see a woman, she's walking with her little boy, and the little boy is walking with his little dog. And it was just like, boop, boop, boop. It was so sweet. And the only thing that was interesting about it to me was that the woman was covered in tattoos, just completely sleeved on both arms, huge plate across her back. And I understand that's normal now. That's culture. I'm just glad it wasn't culture when I was that little boy. Just thinking about the tats my mom would have gotten. Pack of merits in an astrology magazine. Big Gothic font across her chest. Can I have 5 goddamn minutes to myself, please? And don't think I'm not gonna tell your father what you did when he gets home from work. Although God knows when that's gonna be. Because it's Thursday night and he got his paycheck, so he's down at the bar with his friends, buying everybody rounds like we got all the money in the world, and then he's gonna come home and to me that we're broke, like I haven't seen a $20 bill since Johnson was the president. I'm sorry, Mrs. Gould, we're all out of back. Well, find somebody else, I'm still angry.
Now, I don't want to be controversial, but I actually think that sports are a treacherous place for little girls. You know, like, I played volleyball against OJ's daughter growing up. Chill, I'm still alive. No, I did. I played volleyball against OJ's daughter growing up after he got out of jail the first time. For murder. It was crazy. He came to like all the games for 2 years after. And I'll tell you what, it was wild being 10 years old and seeing him on the sidelines. Because sometimes after I would score, I'd just look over at him and be like, wow, we're both killers.
So this happened to me. I was driving by my middle school, and this was a memory from 6th grade, where my 6th grade teacher, she was our Spanish teacher, and she would like make the white kids change their first names to Hispanic names. What was that? Does it help you learn? It's like, okay, so I'm a Jose now? I don't understand. I'm going through puberty. I have enough of an identity crisis as it is. But my best friend Jeff, he didn't play ball. On his name tag, he wrote Mr. Goodbar. Like the candy bar. And here's the memory. My teacher sees it, and she lost her mind, and she goes, "You can't call yourself Mr. Goodbar!" And he goes, "Why not?" And she goes, "Because Mr. Goodbar is a porn star!" And I
I'm like, there's no way I'm remembering that correctly. So I looked it up. And it turns out Mr. Goodbar was a very famous porn star in the 80s. But we didn't know that because we were 11 years old. Senorita Pregunta. If I may, one pregunta. Como se dice too horny to teach? How do you say that?
And so I have like 4 old dude male comic friends who I swear to God are nice enough guys. But they have recently said to me that you can't even flirt anymore, man. You can't even flirt. You talk to a woman, she thinks you're harassing her. And I have this to say. Are you sure you're flirting? Because I've never flirted in my life. I am married, but not because of any interpersonal skills, right? I'm married because of online dating. Online dating is the last bastion of you can go somewhere and look at each other and both of you go, well, I would make out with that. Would you make out with this? And then you move forward from there. And that's why I'm married. Prior to internet dating, I had 2 ways of hitting on guys, and one of them was stone cold sober. If I liked a guy, I would stand next to him for years. Absolutely never successful. Second way, I'd get liquored up. I'd go to the bar. I'd walk up to any promising dude and go, this needs a tune-up. You want in? Neither one of those is flirting. One of them is harassment. Right here. How do we know? How do we know? Because of how the men would respond. That's how we know. Almost all of them said, ew, no. And then some of them said, sure? We then proceeded to have what can only be called consensual but regrettable sex. I don't know. And then I looked up the definition of flirting. Flirting is harassment. That's the definition. It's either successful harassment or unsuccessful harassment. The best definition of flirting I read was this one: an interaction with another person wherein you make the other person feel good about themselves. Ooh, who's doing that? And then I realized who's doing that, and it's my dad. My father is an aluminum siding salesman, though vinyl is final, steel is for real. Still selling Elliott-cation, Milwaukee, windows, doors, anything you need, roofing. But I recently found out that he hit on one of my best friends, Maria Bamford, at my wedding. Now, in his defense, at my wedding, Maria Bamford was a tiny 35-year-old blonde woman, which is his favorite kind of person. But she told me this, and I was like, I'm so sorry. And she said, don't be sorry. He didn't touch me. He didn't even say anything weird. I just got the impression that he thought I was pretty. I was like, that's that crazy definition of flirting. How did he do it? She goes, I have no idea. So, the last time I was home, I had dinner with my dad, and then I had breakfast with my dad. And at breakfast, I said, you hit on Maria Bamford using some weird skill. What was it? He was like, it's a sales technique, Jackie. It's called the post-close warm-up. I've been trying to teach all you kids how to do it since you were born. Is anyone listening to me? He said, I hit on the waitress. We went out to dinner last night. We hit on the waitress last night using the post-close warm-up. You were there. And I was like, I remember you hitting on the waitress, Dad. I also remember it not being successful. And he goes, it's not always going to be successful. It's a waitress. That is a hostage situation. She keeps going away. You can't build any kind of momentum, but you got to practice on someone. By the way, going to dinner with your 84-year-old father in Milwaukee, we're talking Outback, 4:30. Okay. The waitress came to the table. My father looked at the waitress and said, you are very good looking. You look very familiar. Are you an actress? You are very good looking. You look very familiar. Are you an actress? And she said, no, I'm a waitress. What would you like to drink? He got the coffee. She goes away. She comes back. My dad goes, you just seem so familiar to me. I feel a connection with you. Maybe we've met before. And she goes, maybe. I meet a lot of people. What would you like to eat? He got the steak. She goes away. She comes back at the end of the meal. My father goes, well, it's been very nice meeting you. I hope I see you around again. And she goes, maybe. Here's the bill. Now, there are 3 beats to this thing. The first beat you say in a non-threatening general way, well played. Nice work. Second beat, you say, I feel a connection with you. I'm kind of sorry we've never met before. Third beat, my dad's like, very important. Third beat, you gotta let it go. Gotta let it go. You give it a shot. You say, well, it's been very nice meeting you. I hope I see you around again. If she's interested, she will talk more to you. You will start another round, and eventually, you will sell that woman windows. I love my father a great deal. And if you were to look at him objectively, actually, I don't recommend that. I recommend you look at him subjectively through the love in my eyes because he's very smart. He's very good with money. He loves talking to people. Actually, like 3 weeks ago, he calls me up and he's like, so I'm watching TV and at the commercial, there's an opportunity to get a free $100 square pillow. I was like, yeah? He goes, yeah. So I called him up and I was like, I'd like my free square pillow. And they said, well, give us your information. I did. I hung up. Moments later, guy calls back, different guy, to sell me a $6,000 electric bed. And I was like, yeah, that's what that's for, Dad. He's like, I know. I talked to him for like 90 minutes. And it was great, $6,000 electric bed. Talked him down to $3,600. And then he finally said, you know, you give me $100 over the phone and then send me $100 a month. We'll bring the bed over to your apartment. And I said, you know, I'm 84. I'm going in tomorrow for a heart surgery. If I live, I'll call you back. Click. So he's like, the guy was a pretty good salesman. I think I saved like 3 old people having to talk to that guy. He's very good at a lot of different things. Like he's my brother Russ, who lives in Milwaukee, hangs out with him all the time. He's like, sometimes Dad will tell me that if I get a certain stock in like a week and a half, I can turn it around and make like 10 grand. And I remember the first time he told me that, I was like, really? And it's like, yeah, you should. Don't bother though. And my brother Russ is like, why wouldn't I? No, I want to make 10,000. Why wouldn't I do that? He's like, well, there's not really fun in that. It's because you could make $250,000 if you invest in this other stock. And some sort of mousetrappy kind of Rube Goldberg thing happened, where like a swan came by and rolling a bowling ball. You could make like $250,000. And my brother Russ goes, I think I'm just gonna do the $10,000 thing, Dad. And my dad's like, it's boring, but okay. So he's done it like 6 times, and he has like a Scrooge McDuck pile of money. And I was like, hey, Russ, you got 5 siblings over here. When Dad tells you something like that, why don't you call the rest of us? And my brother Russ goes, why don't you call your dad more often? He's not wrong. I did call my dad not long ago, and I was talking to him, and I said, I was just making conversation. And I said, I turned down a gig. And he goes, you just turned it down. And I said, yeah, didn't want to do it, Dad. And he goes, what was the first thing I taught you? And I was mad because I didn't like his tone of voice. And so I said, I don't know, pick up other people's change. And he became very angry since he's never said that. He said, no, the first thing I taught you all was never say no without a number. And I was like, that does sound familiar. What the heck does it mean? He goes, you don't say no. You say, I'd love to do that. I'm going to need, and then you pick a giant number. And I was like, 17 grand. He's like, that's a good number. He's like, odd number, strong. He's like, I would love to do that. I'm going to need $17,000. And then they say, oh my gosh, we don't have $17,000. And then you say back, well, thank you so much for thinking of me. If your budget ever goes up, keep me in mind. But know that my prices are always rising. So you can turn it down in perpetuity. And I was like, that's the greatest thing in the world. I'm totally going to do that. And I tried to do it, and I did it wrong. I asked for $2,000, and I got it. So I called my dad, and I said, never say no without a number didn't work, Dad. And he goes, yeah, every experience is a learning experience. What'd you ask for? And I said, $2,000. He said, no, you know what you learned? Everyone has $2,000. Yes. And now I have $2,000, but I have to go to Montana in February. My dad is very much an old school capitalist, right? He thinks that there are tools on the table. You either use them or they get used against you. Actually, in his case, there's a third option. He is bored and he uses them on your behalf. It is a lot like trying to iron something poorly in front of your mother, and then she takes the iron and does it for you. That's what happened. My dad lives in what he calls an old people apartment building, and I was like, Dad, you're 84. What's old to you? And he goes, Dead. Dead is old. Any day of the week, you can get a free DVD player in this building. And, He says, okay, so I'm walking by the common area, and inside the common area, there's an old guy, like 94, 95 years old. He had just gotten out of the hospital. He had just had surgery, and he has Medicare. He has secondary insurance, but he was kind of freaking out. He was almost crying because he had gotten 2 more bills, one from the hospital, one from the surgeon, for more money for like 30 grand, 35 grand, and he was really upset. My dad pauses, and he goes, can you believe people think they got to pay hospital bills? And I was like, Dad, they're bills. People pay bills. And he's like, not a hospital. You die owing a hospital money. That's a win right there. You send them $5 a month. You're trying. They can't do anything. Can't put a lien on anything or garnish your wages. And if that hospital gets any kind of federal funding, they have to do a certain amount of sliding fee scale billing. They don't want to give you the paperwork, but eventually, I'm like, pardon me, Mr. Incredible, while I take notes and tell several hundred people in Minnesota. You ever see The Incredibles? The most heroic moment of The Incredibles was when that guy finds that paperwork for that old lady. And the rest of the movie, quite nice. But that movie, heroic. Okay. My dad says, I can't handle it. So I go in and I tell the guy, I'm like, get the bills, get your checkbook, we'll come into my apartment, we'll take care of this. So they go back into my dad's apartment, and then my dad gets to call the hospital billing. Fun! It's his favorite thing. So he calls the hospital billing, and he's talking to this woman. He's like, I'm talking to this woman, and I was like, so my buddy owes you $17,000. I'm sitting next to him. You're never going to see this money. And the hospital billing lady's like, but he was in the hospital. And my dad's like, you've already been paid twice. Medicare, secondary insurance, you're triple dipping. I'm sitting right next to him. He's not going to make it. He's barely sitting up. He was in the hospital just a minute ago. Did you know that? The woman goes, he's not going to make it? Well, could he give us like $600 over the phone with a routing number and then we'll write it off? And my dad's like, yeah, we could totally do that. So they give him a routing number and they hang up. And my dad goes, now we're going to go talk to the surgeon. He's right here in Milwaukee. I'll drive. Lincoln Town Car, 99. They get into the car at around 4:30 in the afternoon on a Thursday. They drive to the surgeon's office. And my dad goes into the surgeon's office. He goes up to the receptionist and says, my buddy owes you 15 grand. He's here. He's got his checkbook. We'd love to talk to the surgeon. The receptionist is like, please come and sit down. So it's 4 to 5 on a Thursday. And my dad is like, starts in with the surgeon. He's like, yeah, you're never going to see this money. Look at this guy. He can barely sit up. He just had surgery. And the surgeon's like, but I did the surgery. He's like, you're triple dipping. You're never going to see this money. Surgeon lasted almost an hour 15. Finally said, give me $200, get the heck out of my office. So they write the check. And they're driving home, and my dad goes, so we're driving home, and I say to the old guy, let's stop at McDonald's and get a senior coffee. You could buy me a senior coffee. Get this, guy would not buy me a senior coffee. 59-cent senior coffee, guy wouldn't do it. And I was like, Dad, why would that guy want to spend another heartbeat with you? You just spent 5 hours telling anyone who would listen that he was a dead person. He's like, yeah, but I just saved him like 30 grand. And I was like, did you do it for the coffee? And he's like, yeah. I don't need to get paid a lot. I just need something. Anyway. My father he's a good guy. When I had breakfast with him, he said, you know, your Uncle Johnny's son Jimmy has the dream job. And I was like, yeah? You know, I'm on TV sometimes, Dad. What's the dream job? And he goes, he drives a cement truck. I was like, wait, that's the dream job? And he goes, yeah, you know the truck that spins? He gets to drive that truck. I was like, yeah, that's the dream job? He said, yeah, he gets to drive up into buildings and pour cement. I'm like, wait, driving a cement truck is the dream job? And my dad goes, it's the truck that spins, Jackie. So inside of my very sophisticated 84-year-old father is a toddler who would desperately like to drive a concrete mixer. I have been corrected.